Secure Top here, and these are 100 alien discoveries of archaeologists that you may not have known about. This discovery changed archaeology. The 600-year-old Nebra Sky Disc remains one of the most enigmatic archaeological finds. Inscribed on the UNESCO Memory of the World Register in 2013, this artifact is striking in its design and complex manufacturing technology. Recent research conducted in Germany has shown that the disc was made using a 10-stage hot forging process. Each stage involved heating the metal to 700 degrees Celsius and stress-relieving treatment. This data was obtained using modern techniques such as X-ray spectroscopy and microstructural analysis. Attempts to reproduce the technology have shown that the ancient original methods were superior to modern processing methods. The Nebra Sky Disc is not only a unique artifact but also proof of the advanced metallurgy knowledge of the time. Two-headed alien. A strange mummy with two heads was discovered in Tibet, which was immediately dubbed the two-headed alien. This artifact shocked scientists and fans of mysticism. The mummy looks as if its origins go beyond the earthly, which gives rise to many theories, from mutations to extraterrestrial civilizations. Some researchers believe that this could be a ritual artifact or a cult image created by ancient people to worship unknown forces. Interestingly, the structure of the mummy looks unusual even for mutations known to biology. The proportions of its body and the shape of its head suggest that it could be the embodiment of something mythical or unearthly. Ancient Tibetan legends often mention heavenly beings who visited Earth. Perhaps this artifact is an attempt to depict those whom the ancients considered gods. However, there is also a more mundane version. The mummy may be the result of artificial mummification of two different bodies connected for ritual purposes. The oldest mineral on Earth. In 2001, a unique zircon crystal was discovered in Australia, which is recognized as the oldest mineral on Earth. Its age is an impressive 4.4 billion years, which makes it a witness to the earliest stages of the formation of our planet. This tiny crystal gives scientists the opportunity to understand how the Earth cooled and formed in its first billion years. Today, this rare artifact can be seen in the Geological Museum of the University of Wisconsin in Madison, USA. Zirconium is interesting not only for its age, but also because its resistance to destruction allows it to preserve information about ancient processes that took place on Earth, which makes it a real keeper of the history of our planet. Mysterious mask. A strange iridium artifact found in Florida challenges traditional ideas about ancient civilizations. According to researchers, this object is 12,000 years old and is made of iridium, a metal that is extremely rare on Earth and most often found in meteorites. The artifact is striking in its delicacy and skillful processing, which suggests that the ancient craftsmen had technologies that were significantly ahead of their time. An image is engraved on the surface of the object, reminiscent of the deity Viracocha, known in the Inca culture as the creator of all things. According to legend, Viracocha came from Lake Titicaca, bringing light and knowledge. This image may be evidence of a connection between ancient peoples and an extraterrestrial civilization, which would explain the use of rare meteorite material to create this artifact. Historians believe that this object was stolen by Spanish conquistadors in 1715 and taken away on the ship La Concepcion. The ship sank in a storm, leaving much of its cargo, including other artifacts, on the ocean floor. The mask washed up on the beach and is believed by experts to be just a small part of the $5 billion lost treasure. What was found inside the alien mummies? Mexican journalist and ufologist Jaime Maussan made a sensational statement about the alien mummies found in Peru. According to him, rare metals and alloys were found inside these bodies, which could serve as devices for intergalactic communication. One of these metals is osmium, a rare and very expensive element used in telecommunications and space technology. However, it is also known for its toxicity and danger to humans. Maussan suggests that the found devices could be something like mobile phones that aliens use to communicate with. It could be a communication device, although no one knows yet how it works. Osmium, which was discovered, is especially surprising. This metal is not only difficult to find, but also deadly. If someone wanted to create a fake, why would they put such a rare and toxic metal inside? Currently, the bodies of the aliens are being studied in laboratories, but many scientists are skeptical about these findings. According to them, the mummies could have been assembled from parts of various animals. Mystical petroglyphs. The distance from Egypt to Australia is 12,500 kilometers. However, as archaeological discoveries show, this distance was easily surmountable for ancient man. The Gosford glyphs are mysterious petroglyphs discovered in a rocky area near the city of Gosford in Australia. These images on the stone amazed researchers with their similarity to ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs. The glyphs depict scenes and symbols that indicate that these images may be indicative of possible contact between ancient Australian tribes and extraterrestrial beings, or even ancient Egyptian travels to Australia. Supporters of the paleo-contact theory claim that these glyphs may be evidence that in the distant past there were interactions between various ancient cultures or even with extraterrestrial civilizations. However, here too, skeptics come in and point out many inconsistencies and believe that the glyphs could have been created in the modern era, perhaps as a hoax, or are the work of local aborigines who used symbols similar to Egyptian ones. The question of the origin and authenticity of the Gosford glyphs remains open. At the moment, there is no convincing evidence confirming their antiquity or connection with extraterrestrial civilizations, which makes this find one of the most mysterious archaeological secrets of Australia. The mystery of the Antarctic monolith. In 2020, in a remote part of Antarctica at a depth of more than 2 kilometers, researchers discovered a mysterious object which was named the Antarctic monolith. This object, which is a rectangular stone slab about 3 meters high and 1.5 meters wide, was found using sub-ice radar used to map the landscape under the ice sheet. The strangest thing began when scientists began to study the monolith. The surface of the stone was covered with complex geometric patterns and petroglyphs that were strangely similar to ancient symbols found in different parts of the world, including South America, Africa, and Asia. Analysis of the material showed that the stone has no analogs among the known rocks of Antarctica, which means that it came here from another place. In addition, the monolith had unusual magnetic properties. Instruments recorded a weak but constant magnetic field around it. Near the monolith, charred remains of organic material were found that scientists believe could be ancient plants or even remains of living creatures that lived millions of years ago. These organic materials trapped in ice could provide unique information about the ancient ecosystem of Antarctica when it was part of the supercontinent Gondwana. Some researchers suggest that this could be the trace of an advanced civilization that existed long before humans appeared. Others claim that it is potential evidence of contact with extraterrestrial beings. The mystery of drops discs. In 1938, in a remote area of China in the Bayan Karaula Mountains, archaeologists discovered amazing artifacts, drop discs. These discs, made of granite, have a diameter of about 30 centimeters and a thickness of approximately 1 centimeter. They attracted the attention of scientists with their unusual appearance. Each disc contains a central hole and cut spiral grooves reminiscent of tracks for playing sound. That is, they look like vinyl records and perhaps contain the sounds of ancient people, nature, or even something alien. Most intriguingly, the grooves on the discs contain microscopic characters that resemble hieroglyphs. Researchers say these symbols may be a form of ancient writing encoded in spiral patterns. Translations by some scholars suggest that the discs may tell of an ancient civilization known as the Drapa, which may have had contact with extraterrestrial beings. According to legend, the Dropa tribe arrived on Earth about 12,000 years ago from a distant star. But unfortunately, there are practically no artifacts left from them except these records. The Dropa discs remain one of the most mysterious archaeological finds, raising many questions about possible contacts between ancient people and aliens. A mysterious secret in the garden. Archaeologists have discovered 123 ancient bodies buried in a vertical shaft near Leicester Cathedral. The find, dating back to the 12th century, includes the remains of men, women, and children and raises many questions. None of the skeletons showed signs of violent death, which points to 2 possible causes of the tragedy: famine or epidemic. The shaft was found during excavations that began after the discovery of the remains of King Richard III in 2012. The new discovery sheds light on the dark pages of Leicester's history, where more than 1,200 burials covering a period of more than 850 years have previously been found. According to archaeologist Matthew Morris from the University of Leicester, radiocarbon dating rules out a connection between the found bodies and the plague of the 14th century, known as the Black Death. The bodies date back to the 12th century, forcing researchers to wonder about the nature of the catastrophe that devastated the area. Interestingly, all the bodies were wrapped in shrouds but had no clothing or jewelry. This indicates that the dead did not die suddenly on the streets, but their bodies were most likely collected in an organized manner and brought to the mine in carts. Archaeologists estimate that the bodies found represent about 5% of the population at that time. Mass graves from that period are not uncommon in England, but this mine turned out to be the largest in the region. Such finds help to better understand the impact of epidemics and famines, which could wipe out large parts of the population in a short period of time. Alien skulls. A few years ago, American and European media were filled with sensational stories about the discovery of alien skulls in a cave in Russia. These strange skulls, resembling something clearly non-human, caused a lot of controversy. Many assumed that they could belong to aliens or creatures unknown to science. However, journalists soon declared that the whole story was a hoax and it quickly disappeared from the headlines. These skulls could have been part of an ancient ritual or simply the altered remains of animals whose bones had acquired unusual shapes. But it is interesting to imagine what it must have felt like to discover them for the first time in a dark, cold cave. It is one thing to see them in a photograph, and quite another to hold this mysterious artifact in your hands, causing a feeling of both fear and curiosity. Even though this discovery turned out to be a hoax, it remains an interesting reminder of how myths and facts can intertwine to create amazing stories. Mystical stones of Jalisco. Piedras grabadas de Ojuelos de Jalisco are mysterious stones found in the Mexican state of Jalisco, carved with strange figures, scenes, and symbols. These stones have attracted the attention of researchers and UFO enthusiasts due to images that some believe indicate ancient civilizations had contact with extraterrestrial beings. The stones depict people interacting with alien-like figures as well as objects similar to modern ideas about UFOs. Proponents of the paleo-contact theory argue that these stones may be important evidence that ancient Jalisco cultures did encounter extraterrestrial beings, or at least perceive such contacts in their myths and legends. Despite their controversy and lack of scientific evidence, the stones continue to attract interest as a possible artifact that reflects the interaction of mythology and reality in ancient cultures. They still fascinate antiquarians, raising questions about the extent to which our ancestors could perceive or interpret unusual phenomena. Nebra's diary. In 2013, archaeologists Pierre Tallet and Gregory Marouard discovered papyrus scrolls at the site of an ancient harbor on the Red Sea coast, which are the oldest known documents. Dating back to the 27th year of Khufu's reign, these records were created by workers directly involved in the construction of the pyramid. Among them are ledgers describing the distribution of resources: bread, beer, grain, and meat to feed 20,000 workers. An even more unique find was the diary of Inspector Mirror, who led a team of 200 people. The diary describes in detail the process of transporting limestone blocks from the quarries of Tura to Giza. These blocks, used to clad the pyramid, were transported along the Nile in wooden boats during the annual flood. Each boat could hold up to 80 tons of stone, and Mirror's crew managed to make 2 or 3 trips per 10-day week, transporting around 1,000 blocks per season. Particularly notable is the mention of the noble Ankaf, Khufu's half-brother, who oversaw the construction of the pyramid. The diary also records for the first time the original name of the pyramid, Akhet Khufu, which translates as Horizon of Khufu. These records confirm the existence of a complex infrastructure, including canals, harbors, and storage facilities. The workers not only transported materials, but also built ports and managed resources. The archives were likely buried in Wadi al-Jarf after Khufu's death, when work was suspended. Egyptologists consider these discoveries key to understanding how the ancient Egyptians were able to build some of the most impressive structures in human history. Alien homeland discovered. Scientists believe that the exoplanet LHS 1140b may have a breathable atmosphere and an ocean of liquid water. This planet was discovered back in 2014, but new research has revealed many secrets. LHS 1140b is called the Eye Planet due to its unusual appearance. It is located 48 light-years from Earth in the constellation Cetus and weighs 7 times more than our planet. Research using a NASA telescope has confirmed the presence of water and a nitrogen-rich atmosphere similar to Earth. However, the local sun is a tiny star, only 1/5 the size of our sun. It emits energy mainly in the red and infrared regions of the spectrum, so the planet is likely to be in semi-darkness. If there is vegetation there, it is most likely black in order to absorb as much light as possible. Recent studies have suggested that the planet could be either a mini Neptune made of gas or a mega-Earth covered in water. Scientists are inclined to believe that the planet is a water world with a rocky core. It is also believed to have a thick atmosphere and a stable climate. Astronomer Ryan McDonald from the University of Michigan noted that this is the first time we have seen a hint of an atmosphere on a rocky planet that could support life. We may have found evidence of air there.
Wolf's Egg Artifact. In 1885, a worker named Rydell discovered a mysterious artifact about 60 million years old known as the Wolf's Egg iron. He found it in a block of brown coal at a foundry in Austria. This metal object embedded in the coal caused great surprise among the worker and his colleagues. They donated the find to the local museum. In 1886, geology professor Adolf Hurlt suggested that the artifact came from outer space. However, further research showed that the artifact did not contain nickel, chromium, or cobalt, ruling out a meteorite origin. In 1973, analysis by Dr. Hubert Matlianer showed that the artifact was made using the lost wax casting method, suggesting that it was artificially created. The artifact is a nearly cubic shape measuring 67 by 47 mm and weighing 785 grams, made of solid steel. Its edges were sharp and straight, indicating its machine origin. Some experts believe that it was a fragment of a much larger tool. The find gave rise to theories about the existence of an ancient advanced civilization on Earth millions of years ago. And although many thought it had disappeared, the artifact is still kept in the Heimathaus Museum in Vöcklabruck, but is no longer on public display.
Elongated skulls. The mystery of the elongated skulls of Paracas continues to stir heated debate among scientists and researchers. These elongated skulls, discovered by archaeologist Julio Tello in 1928 on the Paracas Peninsula in Peru, date back approximately 3,000 years. The skulls are unusually shaped, and although similar finds have been found all over the world, from Rome to the Caucasus, the Paracas skulls are particularly surprising. It is believed that the elongated shape of the skulls was the result of deliberate manipulation, such as tying special bands or boards around the heads of infants. This process, known as cranial deformation, was common among many ancient cultures. Even today, it is practiced by some African tribes. However, it remains a mystery what exactly motivated people everywhere to engage in this practice. One popular hypothesis is that people sought to imitate the gods or guests from heaven who, according to legend, had elongated heads. Another version says that such a shape of the skull could enhance the perception of cosmic energy, which allegedly contributed to spiritual or intellectual development. The peculiarity of the Paracas skulls lies not only in their shape, but also in their volume and structure. Research shows that the volume of the skull is larger than that of ordinary people, and the structure of the bones is different. These anomalies give rise to theories about the extraterrestrial origin of the owners of such skulls. The skulls may belong to representatives of another race or hybrid creatures about which we know little yet.
Bas-reliefs of Nuku-Hiva. On the island of Nuku-Hiva, part of the Marquesas Islands archipelago in French Polynesia, archaeologists are amazed by mysterious statues. The bas-reliefs and sculptures depict strange creatures reminiscent of gray aliens. Their bodies are human and their heads are like reptiles, with huge round eyes and low-set mouths. Who created these statues and why is unknown. The modern natives of the island know nothing about the origin of the sculptures and believe that they depict the ancient god Ono, who, according to their beliefs, created the world. When Europeans discovered the island in the 16th century, it was inhabited by savage gatherers famous for their cannibalism. However, the connection between the current inhabitants and those who created the mysterious statues has been lost. Archaeologists assume that these sculptures are at least 150,000 years old. Some believe that they depict priests in ritual masks, but these masks look too unusual to be simply part of Earth culture. Conspiracy theorists are convinced that Nuku-Hiva was once home to an alien colony. They believe that the statues depict human-alien hybrids and that the sculptures themselves are the result of ancient experiments.
Long before Malevich. Alphonse Allais, a French writer, journalist, and master of black humor, was one of the first artists to use monochrome painting to convey ideas with ironic and conceptual overtones. His 1893 painting, Battle of Negroes in a Dark Cave in the Dead of Night, is a completely black rectangle. Although it was created as a joke, the painting became a precursor to the works of 20th century conceptualists, including Kazimir Malevich's famous Black Square. The irony of the painting's title fully conveys the mood of Allais, who probably wanted to demonstrate not only his wit, but also the absurdity of some aspects of the art of his time. This approach can be seen in his other works, for example, the white canvas entitled First Communion of Anemic Girls in the Snowy Season, or the gray drunk dance in the fog. Each of these works is not just a provocation, but an attempt to make the viewer think and smile. Real Indiana Jones find. Archaeologists have made an astonishing discovery beneath one of Jordan's biggest tourist attractions. 12 complete skeletons found in a tomb beneath the iconic structure in Petra known as the Treasury, Al-Khazna. The site was made famous by the film Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. The Treasury, which is believed to be a mausoleum, was carved by the Nabatean people around 2,000 years ago. Petra was the capital of the Nabatean kingdom, and its majestic structures carved from pink stone still amaze the imagination. The discovery will help us learn more about the ancient Nabateans. Many other tombs in Petra contained only fragments of human remains, but this tomb contained 12 complete skeletons. This important find will allow us to study the rituals surrounding the life and death of the Nabateans, as well as their way of life, based on the analysis of their teeth and bones. The tomb has been tentatively dated to between the 1st century BC and the 1st century AD, during the height of the Nabatean kingdom, which was annexed by Rome in 106. One of the skeletons was found to contain a ceramic vessel reminiscent of the famous bowl from the Indiana Jones film, adding further intrigue to the find. Out-of-place artifact. Out-of-place artifacts are finds that do not fit into the traditional understanding of our history at all. They are found in places and layers of the earth where they should not be. The most amazing thing is that, given their age and level of complexity, such objects simply could not have been created at a time when, as is believed, no advanced technology existed. Official science often declares such finds to be fakes or simply ignores them, but their number is growing, and it is no longer possible to turn a blind eye to them. Let's take, for example, the mysterious Baigun metal pipes discovered in China. These pipes go deep into the ground and extend to the shores of lakes. Their age is estimated at 150,000 years. The composition of the pipes, including iron and other minerals, and their antiquity baffle researchers. Some believe that this is the result of natural processes, but others believe that the pipes could be traces of a highly developed civilization or even left by aliens. No less mysterious is a forged nail, the age of which exceeds 350 million years. This nail was found in a rock layer dating back to the Paleozoic, a time when neither people nor metalworking existed. How could such a nail get into ancient rocks? Some scientists suggest tectonic processes, others talk about the intervention of previously unknown civilizations. Fossilized tools were found in Provence, which could have been made by people or even from ancient trees. If this is true, then such finds indicate the existence of intelligent beings who had woodworking skills long before the appearance of the first known civilizations. Other finds are even stranger. In Antarctica, the Eltanin antenna was discovered, which at first looked like a high-tech object. However, it later turned out to be just a sea sponge. Nevertheless, the very fact of such a misconception shows how wrong we can be when faced with the inexplicable. The Paluxy River tracks are another mystery. Giant humanoid footprints were found next to dinosaur tracks. This discovery challenges our understanding of the chronology of life on Earth, since, according to the theory of evolution, dinosaurs and humans never crossed paths in time. There are other examples. The anomaly on Mount Ararat, which is associated with Noah's Ark, the clay figurine from Nampa, the age of which is unclear, or the wolf seg iron, which is considered a remnant of the prehistoric era. Let's not forget about the Tucson artifacts, a collection of 31 lead objects found in 1924 near Picture Rocks, Arizona. These artifacts include crosses, swords, and other objects engraved with Latin and Hebrew inscriptions, as well as images resembling medieval symbols. Initially thought to be the work of ancient Mediterranean civilizations that allegedly crossed the Atlantic in the 1st century, many scholars later believed that they were hoaxes created in modern times to mislead researchers. Either way, each of these artifacts challenges our understanding of the past and opens the door to new theories and research. Perhaps our history is more surprising and mysterious than we could ever imagine.
A mystery in the Amazon jungle. Padre Carlos Crespi Croce, an Italian missionary who spent most of his life serving in Ecuador, became one of the most enigmatic figures of the 20th century thanks to his extraordinary collection of artifacts. Working with the Shuar tribes in the Ecuadorian jungle, he acquired many ancient objects that some researchers believed could be evidence of an ancient, highly advanced civilization, and perhaps even contact with extraterrestrial intelligence. Crespi's collection included strange metal plates engraved with symbols reminiscent of ancient writing, figurines depicting creatures with unusual features, and objects that many described as technologically sophisticated. Of particular intrigue were metal reliefs depicting creatures with elongated skulls, stars, and scenes reminiscent of space travel. Interestingly, there were no known civilizations in the region that could produce such complex items. Rumors about the collection spread after some visitors, including researchers, claimed to see evidence of extraterrestrial influence in it. Some of the artifacts were said to be made of metals that could not be identified. Crespi, however, was not looking for fame. He claimed to accept these items from local tribes in exchange for aid and food. The collection's connection to extraterrestrial civilizations becomes even more interesting when considering the mystery of the tunnels beneath Ecuador that are the subject of legend. The tunnels, known as the Teos system, are said to contain a library of metal books. Some theorists suggest that these tunnels were a base for an ancient race, possibly of extraterrestrial origin. The Crespi collection could have been part of these treasures. Unfortunately, after the death of Padre Crespi in 1982, the collection was destroyed by fire or stolen, and its fate remains unclear. What do you think? Could a missionary become the custodian of traces of an ancient space civilization hidden in the Amazon jungle? Salt Man of Iran. This amazing find was discovered in the mid-1990s in the salt mines near Sharabad in the mountains of Iran. Archaeologists believe that these are the remains of an ancient salt mine worker who died right at his workplace about 1,500 years ago. The unique conditions of the cave, saturated with salt vapors, helped to preserve his body in an amazing condition. The mummy even has preserved his hair, which, under the influence of salt, acquired a whitish tint, as well as a beard, which adds an even more creepy look to the find. Scientists believe that the high concentration of salt in the cave prevented the decomposition process, mummifying the body naturally. The salted body looks as if time has stopped, allowing us to look at the face of the past. The Salt Man became not only an archaeological sensation, but also an important source of information about the lives of people of that era. Today, this mummy is a reminder of the harsh reality of the past and the unique interaction of man with nature. Our world is created by artificial intelligence. Professor Melvin Vopson from the University of Portsmouth has put forward a theory that we live in a computer simulation, and evidence for this can be found in the Bible. Vopson argues that the text of the Gospel of John supports this idea and hints that our reality is created by artificial intelligence, AI. The Gospel begins with the words, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." Vopson believes that the Word is the code that runs the simulation. This code, in his opinion, underlies everything that exists. God in this concept is not a separate entity but part of the simulation, possibly an advanced AI that runs our universe. Another quote from the Gospel that Vopson refers to is, "All things were made through him, and without him was not anything made that was made." The scientist believes that this also confirms his hypothesis that the world was created through the Word, the code. The act of creation can be seen as a programming process that resulted in the creation of a simulated universe. The simulation theory can also explain how God was able to create the world in 6 days, as described in the Bible. If we imagine our world as a product of AI, then the launch of the simulation can happen very quickly. Thus, Vopson believes that his theory does not contradict religious views, but on the contrary, gives them a modern explanation. The scientist also points to the physical limitations that exist in our reality as possible signs of a simulation. For example, the limitations on the speed of light and sound can be the result of the work of the processor that controls the simulation. The laws of physics that govern the universe resemble complex algorithms, and elementary particles can be compared to pixels on a screen. Vopson considers symmetry present in nature, patterns of snowflakes, butterflies, and other objects, as another proof. He believes that this may be a way of saving resources used in the simulation to create the world. The simulation theory is supported not only by Vopson, but also by other famous people. Elon Musk, for example, has stated that the probability that we live in the base reality is extremely small, almost 1 in billions. He argues that our reality is most likely one of many simulations created by a more advanced civilization. Thus, the simulation theory offers a new view on the nature of the universe and the place of man in it. Secret underground base. While studying the Greenland ice sheets, NASA scientists made an unexpected discovery. They found the remains of an abandoned Cold War military base called Camp Century. This city under the ice was part of the secret American project Iceworm. The base was conceived as a network of tunnels that could serve as a place to house intercontinental nuclear missiles aimed at the Soviet Union. Using a Gulfstream 3 research aircraft with radar equipment, NASA scientists studied the depth of the ice sheet and the structure of the bedrock. In the images, they saw the remains of tunnels and structures that were preserved in the thickness of the ice. Camp Century was built in 1959 and included a network of 21 tunnels with a total length of about 3 kilometers. However, the project was abandoned in 1967 due to high costs and the instability of the ice sheet. The U.S. military originally planned to create a network of tunnels more than 4,000 kilometers long to accommodate the Minuteman IRBM missiles, but the ice sheet proved too complex to implement such ambitious plans. Today, the melting of Greenland's glaciers is gradually revealing the remains of the base, including fuel and pollutant burial sites. This city under the ice is yet another example of how military ambitions are intertwined with scientific research and the environmental challenges of our time. The mystery of Archaeim. Archaeim, often called the Russian Stonehenge, is one of the most mysterious archaeological sites in Russia. Located in the steppes of the southern Urals, this megalithic complex is striking in its size and precision of planning, which makes it similar to the famous Stonehenge in Great Britain, both in astronomical functions and in geographical latitude. Archaeim is a round fortress with 2 concentric rings of walls and streets connecting dwellings, which were built taking into account the astronomical knowledge of the ancients. Research has shown that the buildings in Archaeim were built in such a way as to observe 18 astronomical events, including solstices and equinoxes. This indicates a high level of astronomical knowledge of the peoples who inhabited this region in the Bronze Age. Archaeim not only attracts archaeologists, but is also a subject of interest for researchers of anomalous phenomena. Unusual magnetic anomalies are recorded in the area of the complex, which sometimes affect the operation of electronic devices. These anomalies, as well as a number of other unexplained phenomena, give rise to various theories, including suggestions that Archaeim could have been used or even created by extraterrestrial civilizations. In addition, the unique architecture and complex water supply system testify to the high level of social organization and engineering skill of its builders. These qualities make Archaeim one of the key Bronze Age monuments in Eurasia.
These microbes are 2 billion years old. Scientists have discovered the oldest microorganisms living in the depths of our planet. Rocks about 2 billion years old were found in South Africa, which is impressive in itself, but even more sensational was the discovery of living microbes in them. These organisms are the oldest microorganisms ever found in such ancient rocks. Before this discovery, it was believed that the oldest living microorganisms were found in geological layers about 100 million years old under the ocean floor. But a new study has shown that even rocks 2 billion years old can be habitable. This discovery significantly expands our understanding of life in extreme conditions and its evolution on Earth. The microbes were discovered in a crack in an ancient rock extracted from the Bushveld igneous complex, the largest intrusion of igneous rock on Earth. This region is famous for its ore deposits, including about 70% of the world's platinum reserves. Microorganisms that live in such conditions develop incredibly slowly and can survive for billions of years. This discovery is important not only for the study of life on Earth, but also for future exploration of Mars. Microbes that survive in such extreme conditions give hope for the possibility of life existing beneath the surface of other planets.
Discovery of the star Sirius. The Dogon tribe of Mali, Africa has long attracted the attention of researchers and anthropologists due to their unique and ancient knowledge of the star Sirius. This knowledge is amazing in its accuracy. The Dogon claim that Sirius is not just a bright star visible to the naked eye, but that it has a satellite, Sirius B, which is invisible without special equipment and was discovered by Western scientists only in 1862. According to Dogon mythology, their ancestors received this knowledge from mysterious creatures they call Nomo. These creatures, according to legend, came to Earth from Sirius and taught the Dogon astronomy, agriculture, and other important sciences. The information that the Dogon keep about Sirius is amazing in its accuracy. They knew that Sirius B is a small and extremely dense star, which is surprising for a people who did not have access to modern astronomical instruments. This knowledge has given rise to many hypotheses and theories about possible contact between the Dogon and an extraterrestrial civilization. Supporters of paleocontact are sure that the ancient Dogon could only have received such precise data about space from a highly developed extraterrestrial race. Some anthropologists and historians believe that the Dogon knowledge could have been acquired not from mythical creatures, but from European missionaries and explorers who visited Africa in the past. There are suggestions that the Dogon could have learned about Sirius B during interactions with scientists in the 19th or early 20th century, and then integrated this information into their myths and legends. Tiahuanaco Cave. In the Tiahuanaco area, one of the most ancient and mysterious archaeological complexes in Bolivia, a cave was discovered with strange creatures depicted on its walls. These figures have large heads and eyes, which resembles the images of aliens that are widespread in modern culture. The discovered images immediately attracted the attention of archaeologists from all over the world. Some researchers have suggested that these images may reflect the myths and beliefs of the ancient cultures of the region, associating them with divine or supernatural beings. In the ancient civilizations of South America, images of anthropomorphic creatures with exaggerated features of body parts are often found, which could symbolize their special role and status in mythology. And then supporters of the theory of paleocontact put forward their hypothesis that these images may be evidence of real contacts with extraterrestrial beings who visited the Earth in ancient times. Interestingly, there are similar images and figurines all over the world that have many coincidences. Did humanity really encounter something extraterrestrial in ancient times? What do you think? Write your opinion in the comments below the video. An artifact that must return home. Bust of Nefertiti, created around 1345 BC, remains one of the most famous archaeological finds and the subject of endless debate. Discovered on December 6, 1912 by German Egyptologist Ludwig Borchardt in the workshop of the sculptor Thutmose, the bust is a 47-centimeter, 18-inch figure made of limestone and plaster, painted in bright colors. Borchardt described the find as absolutely exceptional, but its history quickly became overgrown with controversy over ownership and the ethics of removing it from the country. The excavations took place in the ancient city of Akhetaten, modern Tel El Amarna, the capital of the pharaoh Akhenaten, who introduced the world's first monotheistic religion, the worship of the god Aton. The work was financed by wealthy collector James Simon. When the bust was found, it immediately attracted attention. However, Borchardt, fearing that the Egyptian authorities might keep the find for themselves, allegedly provided them with unimpressive photographs of the artifact and kept it in semi-darkness to diminish its significance. After the finds were divided, the bust was taken to Germany, as was the custom at the time. It ended up in Berlin and was donated to the state museums in 1920. Since then, the bust has rarely left Germany. except for a temporary move to the salt mines of Thuringia for safekeeping during World War II. Egypt has repeatedly claimed that the bust was illegally removed. In 1929, a possible return was discussed, but Adolf Hitler, delighted with the artifact, forbade its return. Modern Egyptian authorities, including the renowned archaeologist Zahi Hawass, continue to demand the repatriation of the bust, claiming that the deal was not fair. Indonesian Star Trek. In 1992, geologist Castillo made a discovery that still shocks today. In the province of Kapanga, Indonesia, he was exploring the Satan's Cave in the mountains and found an unusual stone. On its chip were engraved mysterious symbols that resembled a map of the Star Trek. The signs on the stone are strikingly similar to the images on the plaques sent into space by NASA with the Pioneer 10 and Pioneer 11 probes in the 1970s. The stone depicts a man and a woman holding hands, as well as the sun, stars, and lines resembling routes. Geologists claim that the age of the stone's processing is hundreds of thousands of years. This casts doubt on its terrestrial origin because at that time people, as is assumed, could not have had such knowledge. Conspiracy theorists suggest that aliens received a message from the Pioneer probe but miscalculated and missed the time, ending up on Earth hundreds of thousands of years ago. Perhaps they got stuck here and left their mark in the form of this stone. Another version says that the stone could have been created by a highly developed civilization that existed in Indonesia long before our era. The map depicts a star system with 1 star and 7 planets, an almost exact reproduction of the solar system. Modern scientists recognize 8 planets, but until recently, Neptune was considered an asteroid. Whoever the creators of the mysterious stone were, their knowledge of the stars remains a mystery, astonishing modern science.
Mysterious accessory from the future. Archaeologists have discovered wall carvings depicting objects similar to modern handbags. Some of these images are about 12,000 years old. The earliest were found in Turkey in the ruins of the megalithic temple of Göbekli Tepe, where strange images are engraved on the columns of the ancient temple. Similar motifs have been discovered in Mexico, Iraq, and South America, raising many questions about the possible use of such objects by ancient civilizations. Although the images resemble handbags or clutches, experts believe the ancient ruins are more likely to depict baskets. Some believe that the concept of a handbag may have been invented by ancient civilizations. The first modern bag appeared in 1841 in England, created by Samuel Parkinson. The problem is that the Göbekli Tepe temple was built in 9000 BC, and its builders could hardly have known about such an accessory. Another ancient example of a handbag was found in ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs written about 5,000 years ago, where the gods hold a small square object symbolizing prosperity. Archaeologists have indeed found remains of baskets and tool bags used by the ancient Egyptians, but they cannot yet say for sure what is depicted in the hieroglyphs. Similar discoveries were made in Iraq, among the ruins of an Assyrian palace built between 883 and 859 BC, which depicts a genie with wings holding what appears to be a handbag. Historian David Miano believes that these figures, called Apkallu, were minor deities who carried water buckets made from sacred date palms rather than purses. Ancient buckets similar to the engravings were actually found in Iraq. Similar motifs have also been found in Mexico among Toltec ruins, where giant statues hold objects resembling handbags. These statues were created around 750 AD.
Bees and honey. The Minoan bees is a gold pendant found in 1917 during excavations of an ancient Minoan palace in Malea, Crete. This unique artifact dates back to around 1700 BC, but some researchers suggest that it may be much older. The pendant depicts 2 bees, joined at the base, holding a drop of honey, a symbol of fertility and vitality. Surrounded by fine chains and decorations, the artifact demonstrates an incredibly high level of craftsmanship. Details such as the texture of the wings, the symmetry of the shapes, and the precision of the connections amaze even modern jewelers. The technique of making the pendant, which involves the use of complex soldering and filigree, raises the question for historians. Could Bronze Age craftsmen have had such advanced technology? Bees in Minoan culture were associated with immortality, the soul, and rebirth. Perhaps the Minoan bees served as an amulet to protect the owner or were a ritual object associated with the worship of fertility goddesses. Some researchers even hypothesize that ancient civilizations had knowledge that could have been lost or, more daringly, borrowed from contacts with some more advanced cultures.
Image of a car on an ancient temple. The Sagara Madu Temple, also known as Pura Dalam Jagaraga, is located in the north of Bali, 11 kilometers east of the city of Singaraja. The temple is located in the village of Jagaraga, known for the tragic event of 1849, when during the Dutch colonization there was a mass ritual suicide of local residents. The temple was originally built in the 12th century during the reign of King Raj Sri Aji Jagaraga, but was later destroyed during the Dutch invasion. Restoration of the temple began in 1865, and its current appearance has largely been preserved since then. The temple complex includes two temples, Pura Dalam, dedicated to Shiva, and Pura Prajapat, dedicated to Durga, reflecting their mythological roles as consorts in Hinduism. The walls of the temple are decorated with carvings depicting leaves, flowers, nagas, snake-like creatures, and human figures. Pura Dalam Sagara Madu is associated with rituals of death and destruction, as it is dedicated to Shiva. In the central courtyard, there is a carved gate called Paduraksa, decorated with the head of the mythical creature Bahoma, as well as pavilions for preparing offerings and performing rituals. This temple is unique in that its walls are decorated with scenes from the Western world, such as an airplane falling into the sea, a ship being attacked by a sea monster, and an antique car. Such images appeared because Singaraja was the main seaport of Bali in the 19th and 20th centuries, through which contact with European civilization took place. Buu Stone Pipes. In a remote area of China at the foot of Mount Baigu, amazing underground pipes made of stone have been discovered. These ancient structures, over 5,000 years old, are amazing in their complexity and precision. Excavations have shown that the pipes go deep underground and have a variety of sizes, from small with a diameter of several centimeters to huge, more than a meter in diameter. The technology used to create these pipes remains a mystery to modern scientists. How were ancient civilizations able to carve and install such complex structures? Their origin and purpose remain unknown, giving rise to many hypotheses and speculations. Researchers speculate that these pipes could be part of an ancient water supply or ventilation system. However, there is a more intriguing theory. Perhaps the Baigu stone chimneys are evidence of extraterrestrial involvement. The precision and scale of construction raises the possibility of ancient technology that we do not yet understand. It is interesting that similar artifacts are known from other places around the world. For example, on the Colorado Plateau, the pipes here also have a diameter from 50 centimeters to 1 centimeter. Archaeologists discovered that the inside of these pipes was covered with an iron-containing crust. Something similar was discovered in Louisiana, USA. In this case, the diameters reach 70 centimeters. Life on Saturn's moon. Now let's move on to space. While Boeing Starliner astronauts Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams continue to sadly wait to return to Earth in February, NASA is busy preparing for future missions. In 2028, the Dragonfly spacecraft is scheduled to launch to Titan, a moon of Saturn that scientists believe may hold incredible secrets. Dragonfly is expected to reach Titan in 2034. Recent research has shown that Titan may have a warm ocean beneath its thick icy shell, creating conditions for life to emerge. Moreover, under the ice, up to 10 kilometers thick, there may be an atmosphere, rivers, and seas, likely made of hydrocarbons such as methane and ethane. Dragonfly will be an important step in exploring extraterrestrial oceans and searching for alien life beyond Earth.
Sinister Secrets of Egypt. Dr. Sperle, deputy head of the German expedition in Egypt, told about his discovery, which is several decades old. Together with American colleagues, he found a mysterious black temple of the solar scarab in Anglo-Egyptian Sudan. The temple was built of black basalt blocks without windows, and the roof stood without supports. The entrance was covered with sand, which workers cleared in a few days. Inside was a second stone box almost touching the roof. Without doors and holes, it looked like a mysterious trap. Workers tried to disassemble it for 2 days, but even a crowbar left no traces on the solid basalt. Soon, the workers discovered a lid with an image of a scarab, decorated with gold and blue paint, resistant to time. The lid concealed a manhole leading to an underground room where there was a huge metal sculpture of a beetle with a crystal head. This bug looked more like a technological device than a religious artifact. The attempt to study the artifact ended unexpectedly. An English officer returned with a detachment of soldiers and an order from the governor to leave the excavations. The American expedition was kicked out and the temple was closed. A few years later, Spearley learned that a British airbase had appeared on the site of the temple. The strange metal sculpture, reminiscent of a machine, remained a mystery forever. Spearley never returned to this topic as his knowledge was soon needed by the Third Reich. The history of the Black Temple of the Solar Scarab remained one of the most mysterious pages in archaeology.
Metallic objects from Gaius. The La Mana caves in Ecuador have attracted the attention of not only archaeologists, but also fans of mysticism and ufology for many years. The story of the discovery of metal objects in these caves is shrouded in mystery and mysticism. According to legend, metal plates were discovered in La Mana with symbols engraved on them that resemble modern diagrams, maps, and even technical drawings. These findings became the basis for hypotheses about the existence of an unknown civilization in the distant past that possessed highly developed technologies, or about contacts between ancient people and extraterrestrial beings. Supporters of these theories argue that such complex and detailed symbols could not have been created with primitive tools and should indicate more advanced knowledge. Some researchers even suggest that the plates could have served as star maps or technological instructions left by aliens. However, most scientists are very skeptical about these findings. There is no conclusive evidence that the metal objects from La Mana are indeed ancient. Some experts point to possible traces of modern metalworking and the inconsistency of these artifacts with styles and technologies known in ancient Ecuador. Moreover, there is a lack of reliable dating and context for the objects, which further undermines their authenticity. Archaeologists believe that these artifacts may have been created in a later period, perhaps as part of a hoax or to attract tourists. Thus, despite the fascinating and mysterious story of the metal objects from the caves of La Mana, their origin and meaning remain in question. The story of the caves of La Mana is an example of how myths and legends can intertwine with reality, creating fascinating but often unreliable stories about our past.
Mystical figurines. These unusual figurines from the ancient Mexican city of Teotihuacan are rare examples of Aztec art and worldview. Found in 1933 in the Metepec area by an American anthropologist, the figurines depict men and women with opening hollow torsos. Inside are smaller figurines or objects which causes much debate about their meaning and purpose. Often such figurines are called masters due to their peculiar content. The cavity in the chest area is symbolically closed by a door, which hints at hidden knowledge, a secret meaning, or the concept of the inner self. Perhaps these figurines embody the philosophical concept of Nahual, an inner spirit or companion that accompanied a person in his spiritual quest and on his life's journey. Other interpretations suggest a connection between the figurines and symbols of fertility, education, or spiritual growth. They may have represented social or religious roles, warrior, ruler, merchant, or woman from the elite strata of Teotihuacan society. The fine detailing and the ability to open and close the figurines speaks to the high level of craftsmanship of their creators. This unique design may have symbolized the interaction between the inner and outer worlds, as well as the desire to reveal hidden truths about the nature of man and the world. The four-eyed figurine. This mysterious figurine, known as the four-eyed, was found in what is now Serbia. The age of the artifact is estimated at over 7,000 years, making it one of the oldest finds associated with the pre-literate culture of the Balkans. The figurine depicts a humanoid with four eyes, or perhaps elements resembling a mask. There is a hypothesis that these four eyes are actually part of a mask or headdress, and the figurine itself could depict not a real creature, but a mythical or divine creature revered in the society of that time. There is even a bold suggestion that it could be something resembling a spacesuit, hinting at contact with something extraterrestrial. Although this, of course, remains in the realm of fantasy. Little is known about the purpose of the figurine. Perhaps it was used in rituals or was a symbol of a protector or patron. This artifact leaves more questions than answers and continues to stir debate among archaeologists and mystery lovers. The four-eyed one is one of those rare artifacts that not only reveals fragments of the past to us, but also excites our imagination.
Anomaly figures. One of the most mysterious artifacts of the African continent is the Nomoli figures found in Sierra Leone, West Africa. These ancient sculptures, carved from stone, depict strange creatures with disproportionately large heads, bulging eyes, and other unusual features that are not typical of human anatomy. Some of them also depict scenes that can be interpreted as mythological or religious. The unique shapes and features of these figures have attracted the attention of not only archaeologists, but also supporters of theories about ancient astronauts. Some researchers believe that the Nomoli figures may represent images of extraterrestrial beings that may have been in contact with the ancient inhabitants of the region. According to them, the strange proportions and features of the figures may indicate that they were created under the impression of real creatures of extraterrestrial origin. This theory, although not scientifically proven, adds an aura of mystery to the Nomoli figurines and attracts the attention of ufologists and lovers of mysticism. Official science considers the Nomoli figurines to be religious or ritual objects, and it is believed that these artifacts were most likely used in ancient rites or rituals associated with the worship of gods or spirits, since they could symbolize certain mythological characters. As I have already told you before, when archaeologists or historians cannot explain the origin of an artifact, it necessarily becomes an object of religious significance. Interestingly, the Nomoli figurines are often found deep in the ground, sometimes together with other ancient artifacts, various iron objects or weapons, which complicates the task of dating them and establishing their cultural context. Some finds indicate that these artifacts could have existed in very ancient times, perhaps long before the appearance of known civilizations in this region. Ancient inscriptions of the pharaohs in the Nile. Archaeological divers at the bottom of the murky waters of the Nile in Egypt examined algae-covered rock formations. At first glance, the stones seemed unremarkable. However, upon closer examination, scientists discovered several inscriptions associated with the ancient pharaohs. A joint team of Egyptian and French archaeologists decided to explore the ruins in the reservoir in Aswan. Under a layer of algae, they found several carvings that were at least 2,300 years old. The images ranged from drawings of ancient Egyptian pharaohs to hieroglyphs. The photo shows several well-preserved carved figures. The shapes are blurred by water and quite difficult to distinguish. One set of lettering appears to be a row of mannequin heads above two objects that resemble tombstones. These ancient inscriptions are still being studied. Archaeologists believe that these finds will help to better understand how the ancient kings ruled in those distant times.
Queen Cleopatra VII. Archaeologists have discovered a white marble statue of a woman wearing a royal crown in Egypt, possibly depicting the famous Queen Cleopatra VII. The find was made under the walls of the ancient temple of Taposiris Magna in the western part of Alexandria. In addition, excavations have revealed funerary and meteorological artifacts, as well as the remains of a temple and tunnels leading from Lake Marriott to the Mediterranean Sea. The statue was found together with a limestone bust of the king decorated with a nemes, a striped headdress traditional for pharaohs. Archaeologists also found about 350 coins depicting Cleopatra VII, bronze figurines, a set of ceramics, lamps, vessels for storing food and cosmetics, an amulet with the inscription, "The Justice of Ra has risen," and a bronze ring dedicated to the goddess Hathor. The artifacts allowed the temple to be dated to the end of the Hellenistic period and its walls to the 1st century BC. Researchers suggest that the statue of a woman could belong to Cleopatra VII, known for her relationships with Julius Caesar and Mark Antony. However, not everyone agrees with this version. Former Egyptian Antiquities Minister Zahi Hawass said that the style of the sculpture indicates a Roman origin and not Egyptian, as was customary during Cleopatra's life. Some experts believe that the bust probably depicts a princess of a later era. Indian airplanes. Amazing artifacts known as Indian airplanes have been found in Mexico and South America. These miniature gold figures, dating back hundreds, perhaps thousands of years, are striking in their detail. At first glance, they are toys, but their shape is too reminiscent of modern aircraft such as space shuttles or airplanes. Scientists were especially drawn to the tail rudders, symmetrical notches on the wings, and other elements that would have no practical use in a toy. The question arises, what was the basis for creating these figures? The only plausible explanation is that the craftsmen copied what they saw. Perhaps these artifacts are a reflection of real events when the inhabitants of ancient America observed the flights of mysterious devices. Some researchers associate these finds with theories about ancient astronauts, claiming that aliens, the Anunnaki or representatives of another civilization, visited Earth and left their traces. The mystery of these little planes is enhanced by another fact. Modern engineers have been able to create models based on these artifacts that, with the addition of an engine, are actually capable of flying. Is this a coincidence, an ancient myth, or evidence of technology that came from other planets? Ancient paintings of UFOs. Recently, scientists often come across images of circles and triangles on the walls of ancient temples and caves. It may seem mundane, but the presence of flying objects in medieval religious paintings is surprising. I will show you 9 paintings that, according to ufologists, depict alien objects. The Annunciation with Saint Emetius, 1486, painting by Carlo Crivelli. The ray of light from heaven in the picture is traditionally interpreted as a divine broadcast, but some ufologists see a UFO in this image. The Crucifixion of Christ, 1350, painting from the Serbian monastery of Visoki Dekani. The picture shows 2 objects in the air that look similar to aircraft. The official version says that these are the moon and the sun, although in the Christian tradition, they are not deified. The Ascension of Christ, 1710, the work of Arent de Gelder, stored in Cambridge. It depicts a disc-shaped object illuminating John the Baptist and Jesus Christ. Some believe that the artist may have conveyed hidden knowledge about UFOs. Madonna with Saint Giovannino of 15th century, author Domenico Ghirlandaio. The painting shows a flying object above the Madonna's shoulder, which is pointed at by a man with a dog. Tapestry, Triumph of Summer, 1538, created in Bruges, kept in the Bavarian Museum in Germany. The tapestry depicts 3 disc-shaped objects which ufologists interpret as UFOs. The Miracle of Snow, 1428-1432, work by Masolino da Panicale. The painting depicts an event from 4th century Rome where disc-shaped objects are visible in the air. Israel, Trust in the Lord, 17th century, painting from the Dominican monastery in Sighisoara, Transylvania. It shows a giant disc-shaped object above a burning church. Glorification of the Sacrament of the Eucharist, 1600, author Bonaventura Salimbeni. The painting depicts Jesus Christ and God the Father with a globe, which some researchers interpret as a time control panel. The Crucifixion of Christ, 13th century, kept in the Svititskovely Temple in Mitskata, Georgia. On the sides of the cross there are objects with human faces, which ufologists consider to be confirmation of the extraterrestrial origin of Jesus Christ. As you may have noticed, all these paintings were painted in completely different parts of the planet, but the objects are to some extent similar to each other. Stone giants in Kazakhstan. The Valley of Balls on the Mangistau Peninsula in Kazakhstan is a mysterious place that amazes tourists and scientists with its unusual landscape. There are huge stone balls scattered across the steppes and slopes. Some of them are several meters in diameter, which makes them especially impressive. One of the most common hypotheses for the appearance of these unusual formations is a natural phenomenon associated with geological processes. Researchers believe that the balls could have formed as a result of so-called concretion processes. This occurs when mineral particles settling from water begin to concentrate around a solid core, such as an organic residue or a stone particle. Over time, these formations increase, taking on an almost perfect spherical shape. There is also a theory that the balls are associated with tectonic activity. During faults in the Earth's crust, electrical discharges are released, which can contribute to the formation of spherical objects in layers of sedimentary rocks. Some scientists hypothesize the biogenic origin of the balls. They suggest that their core could have been colonies of ancient microorganisms or plankton that existed millions of years ago in warm water bodies. When the waters receded, the balls appeared on the surface where further erosion gave them a finished look. Visually, the Valley of Balls resembles scenes from science fiction films. These stone giants, surrounded by the harsh nature of Mangistau, create an almost unearthly atmosphere, beckoning with its mystery.
Hongshan artifacts. The Hongshan civilization is one of the most mysterious cultures of ancient China, which existed about 7,000 years ago. It left behind unusual jade artifacts that depict humanoids with teardrop-shaped heads and huge eyes. Some of the figurines resemble creatures riding water scooters or even flying machines. These images do not fit into the usual ideas about ancient cultures and make you wonder who or what were the Hongshan masters trying to capture. The unique Huangshan caves discovered in 1999 also belong to this culture. These man-made caves amaze with their size and complexity. Inside, you can see pools, bridges over rivers, stairs, and passages. The area of the largest cave is 12,600 square meters. But the real mystery is the traces left on the walls. They resemble modern tunneling machines, although technology of this level is not believed to have existed thousands of years ago. In addition, it remains unclear where the gigantic volumes of excavated rock disappeared to. Scientists have not yet found traces of its movement. Some researchers suggest that the caves and jade artifacts are evidence of contact with a more advanced civilization, possibly of extraterrestrial origin. Portal to the underworld. Last year, a unique artifact, the portal to the underworld, which was stolen and taken to the United States in the 1960s, returned to Mexico. Scientists recently completed restoration and returned it to its original location in central Mexico. This monument, created by the Olmec civilization, has long been considered a gateway to the other world. In the 1960s, it was kidnapped from Chalcatzingo, a famous Olmec archaeological site where it was depicting a mythical cat with gaping jaws, a symbol of entry into the spiritual world. The monument dates from the pre-classic period, created between 800 and 400 BC. The thieves smashed the artifact with hammers to make it easier to transport, but did not damage the main features. It was smuggled to the United States, where it ended up on the illegal antiques market. In 1968, the artifact ended up in a New York museum under the name Monster of the Earth. Archaeologist David Grove recognized the Olmec origins of the monument and noted similarities with other sculptures at Chalcatzingo, especially the Olmec cross-shaped eyes and bromeliad flowers near the mouth.
The Kegums Incident. This photo, often referred to as the Kegums Incident, is said to depict the site of an alleged UFO crash in a forest, which was rumored to have occurred in the Soviet Union in the 1960s. According to popular theories, the incident was kept strictly secret, and the area around the discovery was immediately cordoned off by the military. The object was said to be a metal disc, about 10 meters in diameter, with a smooth surface covered in strange symbols resembling hieroglyphs. Local eyewitnesses, who are now almost impossible to find, claimed that not only strange debris was observed at the crash site, but also corporeal remains that were described as humanoid but not human. In the context of the Cold War, such events were carefully covered up to avoid mass panic or leaks of information about supposed technologies that could give an advantage in the arms race. Conspiracy theorists claim that the crash technology could have been studied and partly used in subsequent military developments. What makes this story even more mysterious are the coincidences with other cases of alleged UFO crashes, such as Roswell in the United States. This has given rise to the hypothesis that such events are part of a global interaction between governments and extraterrestrial civilizations, with each side trying to unravel the secrets of the guests' technology. The veracity of the incident remains in question, but the photographs and descriptions continue to attract the attention of those looking for evidence of an alien presence on Earth.
Gold jewelry from space. Amid the glittering gold and treasures of Iberia's Bronze Age, two unassuming-looking objects may be the most valuable of all. A corroded bracelet and a rusty, hollow hemispherical object decorated with gold turned out to be more than just metal artifacts. Researchers have discovered that they were forged not from metal mined from the Earth, but from iron from meteorites that fell from the sky. The discovery, published in January, shows that metalworking technology in Iberia more than 3,000 years ago was far more advanced than previously thought. The so-called Treasure of Villena, a collection of 66 gold objects, was found in 1963 in Alicante, Spain. It is considered one of the rarest examples of Bronze Age jewelry in the Iberian Peninsula and all of Europe. However, the true age of the collection was difficult to determine, mainly due to two artifacts: a hollow hemisphere, probably part of a scepter or sword hilt, and a bracelet. These objects had an iron appearance, which raised questions among archaeologists. The Iron Age in the Iberian Peninsula did not begin until around 850 BC, while the gold materials in the treasure date back to the period 1500 to 1200 BC. However, it turns out that the iron did not necessarily have to come from terrestrial ores. Some Bronze Age artifacts, including Tutankhamun's famous iron dagger, were made of meteoric iron. which was highly prized in ancient times. After conducting mass spectrometry analysis of samples of the artifacts, the results showed that both objects were made of meteoric iron, solving the mystery of their origin.
Shiva Linga. In the city of Sirsi in India, there is a unique place of pilgrimage, Sahasra Linga. Here, amidst the natural beauty, there are stone images of Shiva Linga which delight with their appearance, especially during the Maha Shivaratri festival. At this time, the water level in the river drops, making the sculptures visible and attracting thousands of pilgrims and tourists who want to see and worship the sacred lingas. Shiva Lingam is a symbol of Shiva, one of the main deities in Hinduism, representing the source of creation and destruction. Interestingly, there are not only religious but also scientific controversies surrounding the Shiva Lingam. Some proponents of theories about ancient astronauts argue that the Shiva Lingam may be a powerful technological device, similar in function to a modern nuclear reactor. Based on the shape and properties of the lingam, they suggest that ancient people may have used advanced technology. On the other hand, modern scientists may interpret the Shiva Linga as a symbol of atomic energy, which also has the potential for both great benefit and destruction. This analogy emphasizes the dual nature of Shiva, who in the Hindu tradition is both the creator and the destroyer. Bronze military diploma. In the ancient city of Pare, located in the southeastern Turkish province of Adıyaman, archaeologists have made a unique discovery: a bronze military diploma dating back about 2,000 years. Pare, one of the 5 largest cities of the Kingdom of Commagene, retained its importance during the Roman period. Excavations in this ancient city began in 2001 and continue intermittently. During the work, a Roman fountain, large stone blocks, aqueducts, and architectural structures were discovered. Recently, during the final stage of excavations, a bronze plate with an inscription in Latin was found, which turned out to be a military diploma dated to 123 AD, the reign of Emperor Hadrian. The translation of the text by Professor Mustafa Hamdi Sayar confirmed that the diploma belonged to a soldier named Calcilius Anticus, who served in Syria for 20 years. For his service, he received Roman citizenship and the right to marry. Such diplomas were issued in large numbers, about 100,000 copies. However, most of them were melted down, and only about 800 have survived to this day. Of these, more than 650 have already been studied. The found diploma became an important addition to this rare collection.
The Vatican's alien archives. Ufologist Steve Bassett claims that the Catholic Church is hiding evidence of alien life in its archives and is calling on the Pope to reveal this information. In his opinion, the Church has long known about contacts with extraterrestrial civilizations, but is deliberately hiding it. Bassett cites several proofs. First, he noticed strange images in medieval paintings that, in his opinion, indicate the influence of UFOs, hares fighting knights, or trumpeters using their bodies in unusual ways, in his opinion, hint at alien intervention. Second, in 2011, Vatican astronomer Guy Consolmagno jokingly said that the Church is ready to baptize aliens if any are found. Bassett took this as a hint at the existence of a secret Vatican program to prepare for contacts with extraterrestrial beings. The ufologist's third piece of evidence is a claim by former U.S. intelligence officer David Grash that Italy discovered a UFO in 1933 and Pope Pius XII handed it over to the U.S. Bassett is calling on the public to demand that the Vatican show these archives to the world. Secrets of the Codex Gigas. The Codex Gigas, also known as the Devil's Bible, is an ancient manuscript that holds many mysteries. Created in the 13th century, it amazes with its size and content. Inside the book, you can find not only the texts of the Old and New Testaments, but also an image of the devil himself, which takes up an entire page. Most intriguing, however, are the astronomical maps, which appear unusually detailed for their time. This has given rise to many theories about the possible extraterrestrial origin of the knowledge used to create the codex. Some researchers believe that the manuscript may contain encrypted messages or knowledge transmitted by alien civilizations. Legend has it that the Codex Gigas was written by a monk in one night with the help of the devil. What does this mysterious manuscript hide? And is it possible that its pages contain encrypted keys to ancient knowledge that came from outer space? The Codex Gigas remains one of the most mysterious artifacts of antiquity, which we will definitely study someday.
Volgograd discs. Mysterious stone discs were discovered on the Medveditskaya Ridge in the Volgograd region, Russia, known for its anomalous zones. The find consisted of 6 large round objects, the largest of which reaches 4 meters in diameter. Researchers claim that the structure of the discs is amazing. Their composition includes tungsten, a rare and refractory metal used in modern industry and space technology. Ufologists have suggested that these strange objects could be the remains of ancient spaceships that fell to Earth thousands of years ago and eventually turned into stone. Such finds, reminiscent of flying saucers, only fuel theories about ancient aliens visiting our planet. An alternative hypothesis explains the origin of the discs by natural processes of erosion and concretion. Geologists believe that stone formations could have arisen due to high pressure and mineral deposition over millions of years. However, the perfect round shape and the presence of tungsten remain unexplained to this day.
The bodies of extraterrestrial beings. Theories about the appearance of aliens vary. Some believe that they are similar to humans, but with differences, a different skin color or elements of the genome that resemble reptiles or plants. Such images are often found in literature and cinema. For example, in the movies about the Guardians of the Galaxy, aliens are depicted as furry or tree-like humanoids. The raccoon rocket and the bark-covered Groot became the embodiment of this idea. Other researchers and writers believe that it is pointless to build ideas about alien life based on earthly evolution. Polish writer Stanislaw Lem, in his novel Solaris, created a different approach. His alien intelligence is presented as an ocean capable of interacting with people through their memories, providing a chance to correct the past. This became a philosophical response to anthropocentrism in the depiction of aliens. There are also more sinister versions. Some believe that alien life forms may be parasites that use the human body as a habitat. A similar image was embodied in the film Venom, where an extraterrestrial symbiote used a human as a host. Not long ago, Mexican ufologist Jaime Maussan presented remains that, according to him, belong to ancient aliens. These humanoid-like creatures have 3-fingered limbs, missing teeth, and unusual physical features. When X-rayed, rare metals such as cadmium and osmium, which are used today in satellite systems, were found in their bodies. An egg-like formation was found in one of the mummies, which further provoked mystery lovers. However, scientists are skeptical of these claims. Earlier in 2017, Moissan already presented findings that turned out to be the remains of ancient children, not aliens. To confirm or refute the truth of the new claims, serious research will be needed. Until then, this discovery remains a subject of debate between ufologists and the scientific community. Kokno Stone. This massive stone, located near the town of Clydebank in Scotland, is covered with complex carved patterns consisting of spirals, circles, and lines, and it is still considered one of the most mysterious archaeological finds in Scotland. After conducting a lot of analysis, scientists confirmed that the stone is about 5,000 years old. The patterns on the Kokno stone attracted attention due to their uniqueness and complexity. Some researchers interpret these symbols as an ancient map of the starry sky, indicating the possible use of the stone for astronomical purposes. In their opinion, spirals and circles can represent stars, planets, or even trajectories of celestial bodies, which could help the ancient inhabitants of Scotland track the movement of celestial bodies. Also, the stone could serve as a place for rituals or ceremonies associated with the worship of gods or spirits of nature. However, there is still no consensus on what role this artifact played in the lives of ancient people. Proponents of the paleocontact theory hypothesize that the patterns on the Kokno stone may be evidence of contact with extraterrestrial civilizations. According to them, the complexity and symbolism of the images may indicate interaction with a more advanced culture, possibly not of terrestrial origin.
The mysterious disappearance of an Inuit village. In November 1930, a hunter named Joe LaBelle, well known among the local Inuit tribes, went to a small fishing village on the shores of Lake Angikuni in northern Canada. The village was known for its hospitality, and LaBelle expected to spend the night there, warm up, and communicate with the locals. However, to his surprise, he found the village completely empty. All the dwellings were in their places. Personal belongings, tools, and even prepared food remained in the houses, but there were no people anywhere. The hunter's greatest horror was caused by the dogs. Local sled dogs, abandoned on a leash, lay dead from hunger. This was especially strange since the Inuit always treated their dogs with great respect because they were indispensable for survival in the harsh climate. There were no signs of a fight, robbery, or natural disasters in the village. It looked as if the people had disappeared in an instant. The most mystical thing about this story is the disappearance of bodies from the graves. All the graves in the local cemetery were opened, and the remains of the deceased were gone. Joe LaBelle contacted the police, and soon a search operation began. However, neither the bodies nor any traces of the missing people were ever found. The story became public, and speculation and rumors began. Locals claimed that shortly before the disappearance of the village, they saw strange glowing lights in the sky that hovered over the lake. These reports gave rise to many theories, including the intervention of extraterrestrial forces. There are also suggestions about a mass migration of residents, perhaps due to a lack of resources or the impact of a mysterious epidemic. However, no traces of a mass exodus were found. Some associate this case with the Inuit myths about the Tunit spirits, an ancient people who, according to legend, could take people to the spirit world. Other explanations include mysterious atmospheric phenomena or even time portals. Almost a century later, the disappearance of the Inuit from the village of Anjikuni remains one of the strangest and most inexplicable mysteries in Canadian history, one that still excites researchers and mysticists today.
UFOs in 1665. In April 1665, 6 fishermen witnessed a mysterious celestial phenomenon, an aerial battle over the Baltic Sea near Stralsund. As soon as evening fell, a dark gray disk appeared in the sky. The exhibition, UFOs 1,665 inches, reconstructs how this event was presented in the media of the time and shows that many of the communication strategies used to cover unexplained celestial phenomena are still relevant today. The central event of this exhibition was the aerial battle on April 8, 1665. The fishermen saw flocks of birds turning into ships that fought in the sky. Ghostly figures scurried about on the decks. Soon, a flat disc appeared over the church of St. Nicholas, and the fishermen fled in fear. The next day, they complained of trembling and body pain. The media of the time spread the news at lightning speed, offering different versions of the event. In an era when religion played a huge role, people believed that this phenomenon was a sign sent by God. At the time, no one knew that the fishermen may have witnessed an atmospheric reflection of a naval battle over the horizon. UFO on the cover of an 18th century book. The discovery of an image of a UFO on the cover of a book by Johann Funk, published in 1716, has caused widespread controversy among ufologists. This image, depicting a classic flying saucer surrounded by bright lightning, is seen by many as confirmation that alien visitors visited Earth as early as 300 years ago. Despite controversy over whether alien visits actually occurred in the 1700s, the find confirms that people of the time were also interested in the idea of extraterrestrial civilizations. As always, people are divided into types. Some believe in UFOs, others are skeptical about such assumptions. Ufologists wonder about the technological development of aliens. Assuming that they actually visited Earth in the 18th century, how did their technology remain unchanged for 3 centuries? This refers to the shape of an alien ship. The Shroud of Turin and the UFO connection. This mysterious Christian relic is of interest not only to religious communities, but also to paranormal researchers and ufologists. This 4-meter-long linen cloth contains the imprint of a human body, supposedly crucified, which is believed to be associated with Jesus Christ. The relic is kept in the Turin Cathedral and has caused endless debate about its authenticity. Scientifically, radiocarbon dating indicates its medieval origin, but there are theories linking it to divine or even extraterrestrial intervention. The uniqueness of the image on the shroud is difficult to explain. It was not painted with a brush, but looks like an imprint resembling a photographic negative, which is incredible for the technology of that time. The connection with UFOs and alien theories arises from the hypothesis that the shroud could be a product of highly developed technology. Ufologists claim that the process of creating this imprint could be associated with the release of powerful energy or a light pulse, reminiscent of modern laser technology. Some believe that the resurrection of Jesus, accompanied by a miraculous phenomenon, could be the result of the intervention of an extraterrestrial civilization that passed on its knowledge to humanity. However, these are just theories. Head of a humanoid creature. A couple from Switzerland found a strange head of a humanoid creature with big eyes and a long neck on the riverbank. Photos of the find were published on Reddit with the caption, "Found the head of an alien statue in the river." This post collected more than 61,000 likes and many comments. Although the head really does look like an alien, it was later revealed that this sculpture was made by students many years ago. One of them used silicone molds to create concrete sculptures and covered it with fluorescent paint. When the students moved away, the sculpture was lost or thrown into the river. The Glozell Tablet. In 1924, clay tablets with mysterious symbols and images were discovered in the small village of Glozell in France, causing a heated debate in the scientific community. These artifacts, found by a young farmer, Émile Fradet, were so unusual that they could not be linked to any known ancient civilization. The tablets contain symbols and images reminiscent of ancient writings, but their origin and meaning remain unclear. Some researchers have hypothesized that the Glozell tablets may be evidence of a lost or unknown culture that developed in the region thousands of years ago. Another more radical theory suggests that the tablets may be traces of extraterrestrial intervention, although there is very little evidence for this. However, the authenticity of the tablets remains in question. Since their discovery, scientists have conducted numerous studies to understand whether they are real ancient artifacts or skillful forgeries. To date, none of the versions have received definitive confirmation, and the Glozell tablets continue to be one of the most mysterious archaeological finds of the 20th century. Fragment of a granite device. A granite artifact from Japan with mysterious patterns still raises many questions among scientists and researchers. This stone, found near ancient structures, puzzles with its unusual shape and precision of manufacture. Numerous depressions and lines are visible on its surface, which connect into a complex pattern, the meaning of which remains unknown. The official version suggests that the stone could have been part of a decorative element of a palace or temple. However, this hypothesis raises doubts, given the precision and symmetry of the patterns. Granite is an extremely hard material, and its processing requires complex tools that were unlikely to be available to ancient craftsmen. Even more questions arise about the technology for creating such smooth and deep depressions in such a labor-intensive material. The mystery is intensified by suggestions that the found artifact may be just a fragment of a larger structure. If its original appearance is restored, it may be possible to unravel its hidden purpose. Some alternative theories link the artifact to ancient technologies that were lost or brought in by a more advanced civilization, perhaps even of extraterrestrial origin. The skillfully executed elements on the granite could have served as part of some mechanism, a device for collecting or concentrating energy. This find reminds us of how many secrets our history holds and opens up space for fantasy and new research.
Sabu's Disc. This is one of the most mysterious artifacts of ancient Egypt found in the tomb of Sabu, a descendant of Pharaoh Ajib. It is at least 5,000 years old, but its true purpose remains a mystery. At first glance, it is a stone disc with 3 curved petals, but the details make one wonder. The thickness in some places reaches only 1.5 millimeters, which indicates incredible precision of manufacture. Given the level of technology of that time, many wonder, how was this possible? Scientists hypothesize that the disc could have been part of a ritual or a decorative element, but there are other theories that go beyond the usual. Some researchers believe that the Sabu disc could have been a copy of a device left by guests from the sky, a highly developed civilization that visited Earth in ancient times. The structure and shape of the artifact resemble modern aerodynamic devices or even elements of complex mechanisms. The Egyptians may have considered this object sacred and tried to reproduce something they saw but did not understand. Some believe that the Sabu disc is the key to unraveling the interaction of ancient civilizations with extraterrestrial intelligence. For now, these are just guesses, but the mystical aura surrounding this artifact continues to excite minds and invites us to delve into the secrets of the past.
Changes in human DNA. Some scientists are discussing the possibility that alien microbes could interfere with human DNA, causing significant changes to our genetic code. This hypothesis suggests that such microorganisms may not only exist, but also influence human evolution, making us more like them. In support of this idea, researchers point to a number of observed changes in the human population. such as decreased testosterone levels and decreased sperm counts in men. These trends can be interpreted as signs of evolutionary changes, possibly caused by external influences, including environmental factors, or even the influence of extraterrestrial agents. Decreased testosterone levels and sperm count can have serious consequences for reproductive health and population demographics, making this topic important from both a scientific and social perspective. Gate of the Sun. One of the most mysterious artifacts of the ancient city of Tiwanaku in Bolivia, located near the sacred Lake Titicaca. This massive stone arch, carved from a single block of andesite, weighs about 10 tons and is believed to date back to the 1st millennium AD. Despite its ruined state, the Gate of the Sun continues to amaze researchers and attract supporters of theories about alien influence on ancient civilizations. The most striking thing is the carved patterns and images on the arch. In the center is a mysterious deity with rays around his head, which resembles a sun god or an entity that came from the sky. Some researchers claim that the patterns around him represent a complex calendar, and the symbols on the panels may be encrypted information about astronomical phenomena or star maps. The connection with UFOs is reinforced by the legends of local peoples who claim that their ancestors communicated with gods who descended from the sky. Some ufologists see images of spacecraft or technology in the symbolism of the Gate of the Sun. Moreover, the mysterious precision of the gate's creation, its resistance to time and erosion, and the impossibility of explaining its function point to the intervention of extraterrestrial intelligence. Skeleton Lake. Hundreds of human skeletons have been found at the bottom of Rupkund Lake in the Indian Himalayas, earning it the nickname Skeleton Lake. The skeletons vary widely in age, and it is still unclear how they all died. Previously, it was thought that they could have been the victims of a single disaster, such as a powerful storm that killed a large group of people. Recent research has only complicated the mystery. Scientists analyzed the DNA of 38 bodies found and found that the remains belonged to people from different eras, thousands of years apart. These people arrived at the lake at different times, disproving the theory that a single group died en masse. The research began a decade ago when geneticist Kumarasamy Thangaraj of the Indian Center for Cellular and Molecular Biology sequenced the mitochondrial DNA of 72 skeletons. Some were of Indian origin, but some of the remains belonged to people with DNA typical of Western Europeans, particularly Crete and Greece. Interestingly, the time range of these finds also turned out to be varied. Most of the bones date back to the 7th to 10th centuries AD, but among them there are also remains dating back to the 19th to 20th centuries. The causes of death of these people remain unclear, which adds to the mystery of this place. Ceramic figurines from Mexico. In 1944, thousands of ceramic figurines were discovered in the Mexican city of Acámbaro, which have since sparked heated debate among scientists. These figurines depict humans, animals, and even dinosaurs, which has led to speculation about possible contact between ancient civilizations and dinosaurs, or the existence of a civilization with incredible knowledge of the ancient world. Some supporters of alternative theories even hypothesize extraterrestrial origins or influences. However, the authenticity of the Acámbaro figurines is seriously questioned by most scientists. Many researchers believe that these artifacts may be modern fakes created for attention-grabbing or commercial gain. The lack of reliable dating and archaeological context increases skepticism about their authenticity. Kensington Rune Stone. This is one of the most mysterious archaeological finds in the United States. In 1898, farmer Olaf Oman discovered a rectangular slab of sedimentary stone in Minnesota. Runic symbols are engraved on the surface of the stone, which describe a Scandinavian expedition to North America in 1362, 130 years before Christopher Columbus's voyage. The text on the stone tells of a group of 30 explorers, Norwegians and Swedes, who allegedly moved deeper into the continent until some of them were killed. The contents of the runic inscriptions are the subject of much debate among historians and linguists. Some consider the stone a 19th century forgery, while others see it as confirmation of an early Scandinavian presence in America. The connection to UFOs and an extraterrestrial past arises from questions about the origins of the technology that allowed such precise runic symbols to be carved into solid stone, as well as the Scandinavians' knowledge of the continent. Ufologists claim that Scandinavian myths about gods from the sky who brought light and knowledge echo theories about ancient civilizations' contact with extraterrestrial intelligence. Perhaps the Vikings who sailed through uncharted seas and lands could have made contact with aliens or received clues for their expeditions. Thank you for watching this video to the end, and I hope you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel and share this video with your friends. Even more interesting and exciting stories await you further. Bye, everyone.